Ex-convicts, what was the most terrifying encounter you had while serving time? The most dangerous man in the entire wing, a guy everyone called Iron Silas, started shaking the second he locked eyes with me during my first hour in the block. I was only 21, serving a short stint for a stupid mistake, and I had no idea why this 6'5" beast of a man looked like he was seeing a ghost. Before I could even find my bunk, Silas let out a roar that sounded more like a wounded animal than a threat. He lunged at me with enough force to kill, and it took 5 correctional officers and 2 other inmates to pin him down while he sobbed and reached for my throat. I stood there, paralyzed, wondering what kind of nightmare I had just walked into. My cellmate Miller grabbed me and shoved me toward the back of the cell. He told me that whatever I did, I could never be in Silas's line of sight again. Miller explained that it wasn't about who I was, but who I looked like. For weeks, every time Silas saw me in the cafeteria, he'd stop eating and just stare at me, his eyes filling with tears while he white-knuckled his plastic tray. The other inmates formed a silent, protective barrier around me, not because they liked me, but because they knew Silas would lose his mind if he got within 10 feet of me. I eventually learned that Silas only reacted this way toward young guys with my specific height and build. I started hearing him late at night, whispering the name Isabel to the walls and screaming about how she had tricked him into a life of misery. The truth finally came out a month later. Silas had been a gentle giant on the outside, a construction worker who had fallen head over heels for a woman named Isabel. She was brilliant and manipulative, and she had convinced Silas that her younger brother, who looked exactly like me, was being targeted by a local gang. She begged Silas to handle it before they hurt her family. Silas, driven by love and a desire to protect her, confronted the group, and in the chaos, the young man was killed. It wasn't until the trial that the truth was revealed. Isabel hadn't been protecting her brother. She had been trying to get rid of him to claim their parents' massive estate. She had used Silas as a weapon to clear her path to the money, leaving him to rot in prison with a life sentence while she lived in luxury. Now, every time Silas saw someone who reminded him of the innocent man he had accidentally killed for a lie, he relived the betrayal all over again. One day, we finally ended up alone in the laundry room due to a guard's oversight. He didn't attack. He just stood there, towering over me, his voice trembling as he whispered, "I thought I was being a hero, but I was just her pawn." He punched a metal locker so hard it caved in, then slumped to the floor, weeping like a child. I realized then that the most dangerous man in the prison wasn't a monster. He was a man whose heart had been shattered so badly he couldn't tell the difference between a person and a memory. After that, he never tried to hurt me again, but he could never look me in the eye.